Hey, I'm Lauren from Work from Homesteader, and I wanted to show you my realistic garden tour. So our gate is currently broken. Unfortunately, the wind took it off, so that's something that we have to fix here. But it still kind of closes off our garden well enough to keep the predators out and works for now. So as you walk into our garden, we have 3 rows, and while you might not be able to distinguish them because we have a few weeds, there are 3 here, and let me walk you through what they are. So we planted a few onions this year, and they are growing very nicely. We do have quite a few weeds in here, so I'm quite sure with my first year planting what it was going to be, since I planted a lot of seeds too, and so I didn't want to pull anything that might actually be something that we want to keep. So definitely still, learning how to do a lot of the stuff in the garden. We've got some really nice peppers growing. This plant got really big so far. I would say it's at least 2 feet tall, which is pretty great for a pepper plant. We do have some cabbage plants here, and unfortunately they have definitely become victim to some predators. I'm not quite sure if we will actually get some cabbage from them, but hopeful, and we'll see what happens. Definitely open to some tips on protecting my cabbage. I do have a fence around here, but definitely the rabbits still get in, and some other predators can still make their way through the fence. So definitely open to some suggestions there. We have our eggplant, which is like really coming up nicely. It's really sturdy. It has some flowers on there too, which is great. And then over here we have some pepper plants, and these guys are starting to get some peppers on them, which is really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing these. And this guy also looks like he's got a pepper on there, which is great. Over here is my celery. It's still alive, so that's pretty great. I'm not sure how well it's growing, but we'll take what we can get. Here is some broccoli that I let flower. I took the main head off, and these are all of the offshoots that flowered. So I'm going to take the seeds from these, and then this guy is finally starting to get a head on it. This is my last broccoli plant, so I'm hoping that I can actually let this one grow. The other ones I had to cut pretty small because they were starting to bolt already. Here is one of my banana peppers. It's actually pretty close to being ready to pick, so I'm definitely going to do that shortly. I have some more pepper plants over here, and RIP to my cabbage. This is definitely looking worse by the day. Alright, so here we have our cherry tomatoes. So these guys are really fruiting up nicely so far. And what I have them on, if you can see, is I have some T-posts and some netting. I honestly could probably use another T-post. If you see over here, maybe if I zoom out a little bit more you can see, but like it's definitely bulging in the middle here with one of my tomato plants that is just really fruiting. But along this netting is where I have all of my tomato plants, and I'm actually the most excited about this little guy here. So when I first planted him, I had gotten him from the nursery, and it like within days just looked so sad. But I was like, you know what, we're gonna still plant it, see what happens. The worst thing that can happen is it doesn't grow, and it's already fruiting. So I'm just super excited that I didn't give up on it. It's definitely the smaller of my plants, of my tomato plants, but still looks really, really good. So, and then if we go a little bit further in, this is the one that I said is kind of bulging out a little bit, but it has so much fruit on it, like especially at the bottom, which is why I think it's really kind of weighted forward. Definitely if you guys have any recommendations besides adding another T-post, which I might still go out and do. If you have any other recommendations on how to keep this guy up, I've seen people put like copper tubing or like metal tubing across here, and so maybe that might be something I might do, but I might just kind of like wait out this season, see what happens. But that's kind of where we're at right now. And then we have 3 more tomato plants along this row here. And I will show you my tomatillos at the end. Alright, so this is my tomatillo plants. They are at least 3 feet tall. Like, they come up to, if I kind of measure where I am, they come up to my hips here, and I'm 6 feet tall. So these are pretty dang tall right now. Super excited about it, and I have 3 of them. Really, these were 4 plants, but there was something that I think kind of got at this. As you can see, I have like a zip tie here trying to fix the fence a little bit, but something definitely knocked it over, and so now I only have 3. But they are fruiting really well, and I'm super excited about it. Alright, so here is where I have all of my tomato plants in this row. Definitely have some weeding to do in between here. I was not sure like what a potato plant looked like when it first came up, so I left a lot of the weeds that came up, and then I just honestly didn't have time to come back and weed. I have just kind of as a background on myself, I work full-time. I go in twice a week, and I have a 2.5-hour commute, round trip. So that takes up a lot of my time. I have a toddler. I'm 18 weeks pregnant. I'm a wife, and I have a lot of responsibilities in our home, and so I just don't honestly get out here to weed a lot. You might see here, like, I have weeds absolutely everywhere around here, and that's just what it is in this season. I don't have time to come out here and weed every day, and honestly, like I said, I'm still learning a lot on what is something I want to keep, what's something that needs to get rid of. We bought this property from someone else who already had a lot of stuff established, so I kind of want to see like what comes up and what grows, because I have like an oregano plant randomly in one of my like walking paths, and I just like don't know what's gonna come up that I might need, so or want to keep. So I don't want to like dig stuff up, get rid of it before I identify it, learn what it is. So yeah, gardening is such a learning process, so definitely give yourself a lot of grace. And my stuff is still coming up. I'm really hopeful that these potatoes are going to look awesome. I have added fertilizer to them, and they're really getting nice and tall, so they should be ready to be dug up in about a month and a half or so. We planted them just before the end of May. So anyways, these are my tomato plants, and you can see they are looking overall pretty healthy, at least from what I know about a potato plant. So along our fence we have grapes, and these have like gotten so huge over the last 2 weeks with all of the rain that we've gotten. It's been super dry this summer, but we got a whole week and a half of rain, and so they're really getting high this year, which is crazy. I mean, this is probably like 8 feet up in the air. I am really excited to pick these again this year and make some jam, maybe try some wine. I'm open to any recipes you guys have because we have so much jam, and my son is not in the PB&J stage yet. So if you have some Concord grape recipes, I am all ears. that aren't jam. But yeah, super excited. These, oh, by the way, these grapevines were established when I bought the house, so I did not do these. I have never pruned them, and they grow great every year. And so I'm just really excited to see them continue to keep growing. All right, so this is what I believe are my lone fennel seeds that came up. I planted a lot of seeds, including beets and carrots in here. And I'm sorry, beets, carrots, and corn. I don't think any of the beets came up. I do have a few things that are coming up that looks like it could be corn, but it's like really small, and like I feel like the saying is like knee high by the 4th of July, and I see a lot of cornfields by me. My corn, or at least what I think might be corn, looks nothing like that. So I'm kind of thinking it's not gonna happen this year for me for corn. I definitely haven't seen like any beets come up, so that's a bummer. I love beets, but we'll try again next year. And I'm just really excited to maybe be able to eat some of this fennel. But luckily, while not all of the fennel came up, we definitely have a lot of carrots, and I have not weeded any of these, as you I'm sure have already guessed, just based on kind of my methods this year. And I was looking at these earlier. Okay, this is one that like the soil kind of went away, and you can see I have a little baby carrot in there, trying to let it focus. But there's a cute little baby carrot in here. So I know things are growing, which is exciting. I know some of these carrots might be small because I didn't weed them out, but I just kind of want to see like what grows, because like I said, I haven't really done a garden before. So like I learn way better by experience and like seeing what happens. So for me, like I just want to see like, okay, if I don't touch these carrots, these are how close they are. I'm like visually seeing them. This is how I'll remember it. Like, okay, this carrot was too close to that carrot. I need to weed that out next time. And so that's just kind of like how I'm learning it. And then I also planted a few other things from seed and a few others that were planted from the nursery. So all of these pickles here are pickles that I got from the nursery. I'm trying to find, I have a handful that do have pickles on them. Here we go. So this guy has a little pickle on him, and he's so cute. So these guys are finally starting to fruit, which is really exciting. And then I planted these two pickle plants, cucumbers, and then they are growing really nicely. I planted them probably the first week in June. That's probably when I got around to it. And then I have, these also are trellised with the T-post. So I have the same thing going on here. I'm hoping it's strong enough. I have, these are squash plants that I purchased from the nursery. They like exploded in the last, oops, they have exploded in the last 2 weeks. These guys in the middle are actually ones I planted from seed. So those are growing. Here are some more pickle plants. I have to trellis them. I'm really behind on that. I have some bean plants here, and I didn't realize how pretty the flowers look like for bean plants. And then I have a few more bean plants down there, and that's really my garden this year. I have a 4th bed over here that next year I will weed out and grow in there. I just honestly don't have time this year. You know, when we were getting the garden ready, I think I was probably like 8 weeks pregnant. I was so tired. I felt so sick all the time, and I just like didn't have time. Thankfully my husband helped a lot with, especially the rototilling, or tilling. He helped a lot with the tilling. So that really helped me get these beds ready. But I just really didn't have the time to get as much done as I wanted to this year. I'm sure everyone kind of is in the same boat. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my garden tour. I will keep you guys updated as it keeps going.